Tourism and jobs, a better future for all. The theme for the 2019 United Nations World Tourism Day. Now, this is talking about a sector which is generating about 10% of world jobs and has the potential to generate even more, especially in a country like Nigeria, where you have beaches that are not visited as often as they should be. You have historical facts which are not being shared. You have a rich culture which should attract tourists into the country, but this, we would say, are potentials which are not yet tapped. Well, Big Story joins the world to celebrate World Tourism Day as we look at the potentials in Nigeria's tourism sector. And you're welcome. I'm Ini John Mekwa. This is the highest tableland in Nigeria. It stands at a height of over 1,500 meters above sea level and houses the Chapel Wadi Mountain, which stands at a height of 2,419 meters, believed to be the highest point in the country. Also, some of its villages are situated on hills that must be at least 1,800 meters. That's the picture at Mambila Plateau in Gembu, Sadauna local government area of Taraba State in northeast Nigeria. The Virgin Greenery is home to few indigenes, tea farm to a few others, but with the potential to accommodate thousands of tourists. However, this space remains untapped.
Tourism has the largest potentials, but is the most difficult to exploit because you need connectivity. For somebody to come to your tourist site, he must be sure he will go back home safe. For somebody to come and visit a tourist site, he must be sure he'll have a comfortable accommodation. For somebody to come to a tourist point, he must know where that tourist point is. It is the cheapest to harvest, but the most difficult to build. And I have a beautiful, the most beautiful climate in this country, lying west in Mambila Plateau, where I can have a world-renowned hospital so that everybody in Africa can come here and we will start making tourism in health from those hospitals located at the peak of the mountain.
In Lagos, southwest Nigeria, another tourism haven exists. Badagry, the first administrative division of Lagos State, is border town linking the country to Benin Republic. The coastal town has features which are naturally associated with tourism. The coastal nature has also made it a major producer of one of the cash crops in the country. Coconut is grown in 22 of Nigeria's 36 states, with Lagos State having the largest production area. The crop serves as raw material for numerous industries such as pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, and food and beverages, with limitless domestic and export potential. And this has created employment for many indigenes here. But comments of the stakeholders is more of unsatisfactory.
And the problem is for us, this area no farmer. And the coconut tree, they don't cut all for this our side now to be wood, to go build house. And all the problem we have with that, if you want to cut coconut tree, you must put another one there. If you kill this one, that one will start to develop. But no, nothing local government they do for us, nothing government they do for us for this market.
With water surrounding the town, it was easy for the colonial masters to access the area, and this has made Badagry a town of many firsts in Nigeria. One of such is the first-story building. This is where Christianity was first preached and the home of clergymen then. Now it is run by Anglican Church and is open to tourists for a token. Another major tourism feature in Badagry comes in the form of history. Nigeria's participation in slave trade was mainly by coastal areas, and Badagry has many marks of this era. The relics of slave trade, some publicly displayed in different parts of the town, such as the statue of two men which welcomes visitors to the Heritage Museum. There are others which are under the care of families, like the Mubi Museum. Here, chains which were used on slaves can be seen, as well as drinking bowl, cannons and other items.
These are cannon guns. During the period of slave trade, we recognize cowries as money in Africa. And the white people don't recognize cowries as money. And so they introduced trade by barter to us. One of these cannon guns was in exchange of 100 human beings during the period of slave trade. A bottle of dry gin was in exchange of 10 slaves. Mirror was in exchange of 10 slaves. A box of matches then was in exchange of between 3 to 5 slaves during the period of slave trade. People come from different parts of the world to see the chains. Students, adults, Americans, black Americans come to see the chains on a daily basis. We have season. There are season, during the summer season, America comes in like 20 to 50 in a day. Then during the session, student comes in. At times we attend to 2,000 students a day during the session.
There's also the point of no return, which is believed to be the route which the slave merchants used to ship people out of Africa.
The point of no return, once the slave cross, from here now, they take slaves to the barracoon. Barracoon is a Brazilian word for cell. 40 slaves are kept in one room, and the barracoon has 40 rooms. So about 1,600 slaves are kept in the barracoon. From the barracoon, they are taken to the point of no return. Now, once they get to the point of no return, the slaves are not coming back to Africa.
In spite of all this wealth, Badagry still remains a prospect, with the town accommodating mostly its indigents instead of tourists who could boost the economy while enjoying the sight and sound.
When we were young, you see the white men, when they came around, as a toddler then, we rushed to them and say, do you want to go and see the slave relics? We'll take pride in taking them there. We'll take them, they give us peanuts, and we'll be happy, we show them. We are proud of what we have, but we need it developed. You know, Badagry is well endowed. We have oceans around us, we have lagoons. If you go to US, Miami, what do they have? These are the things they have, and they are making a lot of money from it. So even the state government should show interest. You see, when you look at things we have, natural things we have, to develop some of them require a lot of money. And it's too big. Such money is too big for local governments to deploy to these areas. You see, every government tiers is depending on allocations to survive. Perhaps it's only Lagos State that could survive on its own to a limited level. So if all these things could be developed, there are countries that don't have any other thing, no natural resources other than these sites we've mentioned, and they are surviving. Good as Badagry is, we are not attracting industrialists. One, because of our road. Even to come, I'm sure when you are coming, you will say, oh, this Badagry, how can Badagry be like this? So if this, our road is fixed, I'm sure there will be a lot of transformation, because we are central to some other countries, neighboring countries like Republic of Benin, Togo, Ghana. They could easily come around here, pick their things and go back. In fact, without going to Lagos, we can transact business with all these neighboring countries and we'll be okay. So my prayer is the federal government should create the enablement to attract entrepreneurs to pick up these potentials and utilize them.
Apart from infrastructural deficiency, the local government believes that the site could be better packaged to attract traffic and is asking for legal structure which would empower it to run the site instead of the families.
Some of these things, the local government cannot do it. We can't just do a bylaw and take things from them. So we are trying to bring in the state government to come to our aid by putting a law into place. Not that we just take this thing from these families, but government can partner with them, create a better structure where all these artifacts can be kept. And it will even generate income for a lot of people, because it will be, aside from just coming there to see what we have there, we'll so much beautify it, make the environment so lively that I used to compare Badagry with Jerusalem, with Mecca. What happened there? They had people who had lived there and created history. So people there now developed on this thing.
This stance is strongly opposed by the families.
In the year 1952, we actually released most of the relics to the National Museum. The few left are what we have in the museum up to date. So, and we are afraid giving it out to the government, they may not run it properly, because the chains were used for over 400 years. And the museum is 130 years old. And the family is still managing the chains. Badagry was known to be an historical town. We have the Lagos State Heritage Museum. The residence of Lolugad has been abandoned for some times now. And the government is not doing anything. We thank God the present government is trying to rebuild the museum. So they have not finished that. So we can't just release our own to the government.
A major part of tourism in Badagry is hospitality. The president of Badagry Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Fatai Shokumbi, runs a hotel and says that business has been very slow in recent times.
Badagry is known for a tourism community, and it's been a long time. We have not been enjoying the tourism aspect of it because of so many challenges. For example, we have the challenges of the road, which is very, very important. And the tourism aspect that I believe that the Lagos State should help us about it has been very slow. And so Badagry is known for a lot of historical adventures in life, but it has not been tapped yet. As a businessman, as a tourist in the tourist industry, it is not something to write about. So, yeah, we have so many things to showcase in Badagry. But with the help of the government, all these little things we need, I think it will really enhance Badagry tourism.
Business has also been affected by the strict regulation of the federal government at the land borders. Sebe connects Badagry on the Nigerian side to Krake in the Benin Republic side, and the immediate pinch is still being felt.
In so many ways, the economy of Badagry is a strictly mobile one. Importation through Seme those are transit goods that come in from Benin, whichever country of origin they may come from, they pass through here in articulated vehicles, not most of the time, not in containers. So in a way, goods and services and those who manage them use hotels in Badagry. But in the last 2-3 years, government stopped the importation of vehicles through the border posts. That, in a way, affected the activities of people, and the hotels that are in Badagry became a major casualty.
And all this is to the detriment of the youth, who should have been curators and tour guides.
Government didn't appreciate our tourist area here. That's why you will find now that few of them are not interested.
In the southeast, tourism features abound. One which stands out is connected to the historic Civil War. The National War Museum is located in Umuahia, the Abia State capital. As the second capital of Biafra after the fall of Enugu, it seems an appropriate location for the biggest tourist attraction in the city.
My interest in my own side first is I saw things. I saw things that things I was hearing in his story. And not only that I heard in stories, you know, I've been trying to see where I can come across of someone who will give me exactly the things I'm hearing. Until one day, fortunately one day, I happened to, came here with a friend. So when I came down, I read. I took time to go through, see things. Then I now begin to compare the stories I have heard, through history or whatever. So that now made me, I have the interest of bringing other people to come and also see what I have seen.
Census and Economic Information Center provides tourist arrivals for Nigeria at about 1.9 million persons in December 2016, compared with 1.3 million persons in the previous year. The data reached an all-time high of 1.9 million in December 2016 and a record low of 486,000 in December 2012.
We think tourism is a mass drove of expatriates, foreigners in white skin walking around your country and all that. So we have this perception of what happens in the Caribbeans, for instance, where white people move in droves from Europe and America. No, tourism is all about traffic, wherever you can get footprints, right? Because wherever there's a footprint, there's money following it, okay? So if I can get loads of people coming to a particular destination, you're going to feed them. They're going to need transportation. They're going to require accommodation. They're going to buy stuff, right? They're going to buy souvenirs and all that. So that's what tourism is all about. It doesn't have to be born out of leisure. It could be work. England or London survives primarily out of tourism, and that tourism is born out of London being a financial center, same as Hong Kong. Ordinarily, what would I go and do in Hong Kong? But it's a financial center. New York, for instance, is also a financial center.
In revenue, the World Bank shows that Nigeria's tourism revenue reached $3 billion in December 2017, compared with $1 billion in the previous year. The data reached an all-time high of $261 million in December 2017 and a record low of $47 million in December 1995. As a way forward, domestic tourism is preached.
Cities are not properly defined. An expatriate coming into Nigeria will be confused. So if you're not met at the airport and all that, but I could go, for instance, and go to New York, and you know what you're going to do. I'm not going to get anyone to meet me at the airport. But here you have to be herded around, So we are not a very structured place. So I wasn't looking for expatriates to come in because they were coming and they would leave with a very sour aftertaste. I wanted Nigerians to move around, to discover Cross River State. What was I offering them? Something different. You can't come from Abia, for instance, and see the same thing in Calabar. So we offered the ambience, the hospitality, the serenity, the sanity, all that. When people talk about Calabar was spotless, was clean and all that, yes, it was, but it was more than that. We made sure that our infrastructure worked. We had good infrastructure. We had good medical system. We had ambulances and all that. You could be certain that you're relatively safe. We had almost, at the time, we almost had a zero crime rate in the state. So tourism is an engine for making other sectors work.
While it is necessary to build and package content for tourists, it's also necessary to pay attention to the hospitality industry as it caters for the country's guests.
Hospitality in Nigeria is a young industry. It is indeed a young industry. Unfortunately, when I travel across the country, I can barely find a good place to stay. And I'm sure that's a big challenge for a lot of people, either Nigerian or expatriates who are working in Nigeria or they are visiting for business or leisure or tourism. So I think with time, hospitality will be booming in Nigeria. It's not easy to run an hotel in Nigeria. You have many challenges. First, security. So here we make sure that our security is very tight, so the guests feel comfortable. The second challenge is power. There is no constant power, and sometimes we need to run a generator for more than 48 hours straight, which costs a lot of high cost and diesel consumption. At the same time, purchasing, there is no constant items available in the market, especially when it comes to food and beverage. So everything has to be imported and takes more time. Same for hotel amenities, towels. You cannot find the good quality available in the market in Nigeria, so you have to import everything. I have a beautiful experience with Nigerians working in hospitality. Nigerians are very friendly and they are very hospitable, so it's not hard for them to manage in this industry. Yet there is a lot of challenges, which is lack of training, lack of hospitality studies. That you can find good hospitality schools in Nigeria, so either they learned it outside or they have experience outside Nigeria.
And all this and much more is supposed to be captured in the National Tourism Development Roadmap.
For a site to become an attraction and to attract tourists, you need many things. Most importantly, you need infrastructure to be able to reach and access those sites. But the tourism industry is much more complex, and it involves so many other ministries. It starts with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. A tourist wants to come to Nigeria, he needs an entry visa. The way and manner he is treated at your embassy in Nigeria will determine whether he wants to come here or not. The fares into Nigeria are arguably the highest in the world. We also need to talk about that.
It will really be nice to see the development of Nigeria's potential in the tourism sector, as this will easily rebrand Nigeria, create jobs, develop skills, and make a lot of people's dream become reality. That's our story on this episode of the program. Thank you for watching. I'm Amy John Mekwa.